Yo, what's up guys, welcome back. So, OCG Metagame breakdown for like end of July, right? Post Age of Overlord, that's, the next OCG set that has been released last week, if I'm not mistaken, right? Next to, well, this was more weeks ago, the new Salaman Great Volcanic pack that we're getting in TCG as well. So, let's take a look, right? How much of an impact does Age of Overlord have? As you know, there's like a huge amount of good cards, good staples that will pack or will be released in this set. So let's take a look. Like the most notable ones, there's probably more, but for me, like a top 10 in, like random order, again, to refresh our memories, like which cards are going to be released in Age of Overlord. I believe one of the biggest cards being, that small diabellstar package with a level 7 Dark Witch, the spellcaster, plus Snake Eyes. Not so, not so Snake Eyes, but I'm more so looking at the diabellstar package, which is indeed being played massively by the OCG players. So more of that in a couple of moments. The new Horus cards, more of that soon. The new, like Labrynth card, the Butler one, high level one that gives you the capability to directly set a trap from your hand, and then, that trap can be activated during the same turn. So it basically gives a deck more options to play during the first turn. TGs, but sadly no TG deck list just yet. And then two staples, like very dangerous cards. I'm looking at the new Masquerina, the Little Knight, I believe the name is. It's a super staple. Most deck lists are running one, so that's definitely going to be a secret rare in our TCG format, when we are actually getting the set. The new Zeus card, the one that's kind of generic to summon. Again, it could find its way into, most decks because it's so easy to summon. This one, the new what is it? Visa Starfrost lore, right? The one that skips your opponent's turn, but it's probably just, too much to get that effect of, so I'm not seeing this too much in the actual competitive metagame. Looking at Pendulums, they got like a new Selene card, a new Beyond the Pendulum card. It's actually a good one, and there is a Pendulum deck list ready within the next couple of moments. And the last one here for this small list is a new Vanquish Soul Monster, also ready within the next couple of moments. So let's dig in. To refresh our memories again, this was, from the breakdown, what is it, 2 weeks ago with Tournament, still one of the best decks. Chaos Ruler is still there. And like Revolution, Synchron, etc. Labrynth, Rescue Ace, obviously, and the deck got more support in Age of Overlord, so we'll see within the next couple of moments. So let's take a look at the Road of the Kings, right? Again, all the links will be in the video description, of course. And this is not so a surprise, as Rescue Ace is taking over from Tournament. You'll see in the deck list that the biggest reason for this is that, the diabellstar engine, as I was running like a couple of weeks ago in, the videos, it's a superb standard generic engine that, pumps out level 1s from the deck, plus it has that built-in draw mechanic. It's an insane engine, again, for us TCG players as well. Purrely, again, more support. Tournament is still there, that doesn't change, and Labrynth also got more support. And then some extra decks. But let's focus, right? Let's go for the first deck being Rescue Ace. And I believe, as Road of the King calls it, I guess the Sinful Spoils engine, which is very similar, if not the same, to the engine I was running in my decks featuring, the new diabellstar cards. Basically, short set, what does the engine do? You're playing, as you see here in this particular deck list, you're playing 3 of the Rota, which is the card spell, the quick play spell for diabellstar, the one, under Maxi and Effect Failure, that basically searches your level 7 Dark Witch. She's just fine as a one-off, simply because you can Rota her from the graveyard as well. She can special summon herself by discarding any card. So again, very solid, which basically gets her to the field, and eventually you're able to search their one-off spell, the one left to Call by the Grave, which is basically a hero lives for, for level 1 fires. And speaking of Rescue Ace, obviously you can tutor out their level 1 fire directly from the deck. So that's an insane engine. Plus, that Rota can banish itself from the graveyard to send back that one-off spell right to the bottom of the deck to draw 1 card. So this is an insane engine. Keep in mind that Dark Witch is a dark, so Bystials, but as you know, Bystial engine is hit in the OCG. But like this engine for Rescue Ace is big, simply because Rescue Ace also is a deck that can, you know, like discard random cards from, you know, their hand, potentially recur them from the graveyard. So this new engine, if you're playing Rescue Ace in our current TCG format, definitely get this. Well, eventually, right? But it's an insane engine. It's really insane. So it's just, you know, boosts up the consistency of Rescue Ace. And looking at the extra deck, there is indeed the new Masquerina Little Knight that again has the capability to, what is it, bounce cards. Oh, you know, well, they return, right, during the end phase. So banish, right? Yeah. So Purrely. Speaking of Purrely, and of course, as Road of the King mentions, again, SP Little Knight here is an extra deck simply because it's better than Azalea. You know, Purrely was running Azalea for more upgrades. And this kind of makes it so that Purrely has more space to drop Masquerina in favor of Little Knight, right? Plus, Little Knight also has the capability to interrupt during your opponent's turn, you know, banishing stuff until the end phase. So again, this is like probably the best card from Age of Overlord is this new IP Masquerina. So speaking for Purrely, again, nothing surprisingly, other than maybe the Little Knight here in the extra deck, but no Dark Worlds, no Crystal Beast to discard, just pure Purrely, so no sub-engine for that. Tearlament. Tearlament also got more support, indirect support, and I'm also looking at diabellstar. Again, it's finding its way into most decks. I mean, it speaks for itself. The OCG still has Chaos Ruler, you know, available in their format. And of course, diabellstar is a level 7 spellcaster. Well, more so important, it's a level 7 that has the capability to eventually tutor out your what's a level 1 fire tuner, your Jet Synchron, and you know, Jet Synchron can get itself back from the graveyard. Plus, Revolution Synchron, as we saw before, a couple of weeks ago in the latest breakdown, or you know, from the one before this. It's just like this deck, this pile, together with the adventure package, it just tutors out your Chaos Ruler with the greatest of ease. And, you know, Chaos Ruler, mill 5, potentially getting those extra mills from the Ishizu cards. Ancient Fairy Dragon is still there to potentially capitalize on your opponent's field spell. You can easily get it to the field with, you know, your Revolution Synchron. And of course, the diabellstar package also in this. It's crazy. It's really crazy. And it just makes a lot of the decks more consistent. Like, it seems that like every year or so, we're getting that, you know, more generic, splashable, consistent engine. And diabellstar is going to be that next one in Age of Overlord. Last but not least, as you see here, Naturia Beast is also an extra deck, you know, like generic. It can easily end on, you know, something like Chaos Ruler, plus it can end on Naturia Beast as well. And that's kind of scary, the fact that this deck, as you know, fire, this deck is capable of ending on Naturia Beast as well. And that's kind of not so good news. Now, looking at the side deck, and that's also something that kind of is like a consequence, I guess, from the format that other decks are becoming much more consistent, as in decks that have the capability to play diabellstar thin in their deck much quicker. Like this particular tier player decided to side deck Grass Looks Greener and Thrust. So like if they go first, you know, like Pot of Desires, mills with you know, banishes 10, draw 2, that's already 12 cards from their main deck. The diabellstar engine gets a couple of cards from their main deck, so they're thinning their deck quite fast. And then if you, as a tier player, you're going second, use Thrust, go for Grass, you'll mill so much cards, or so many cards, even though you're potentially playing, well, this is a 43 card deck. And that's that's kind of sick, Sadly, we won't have that in the TCG. So next one we have Labrynth, and as you know, I also featured that some time ago, is a new Labrynth Butler, high level 1, level 6, that could be important for, you know, getting out Chaos Angel with the greatest of ease. Plus Butler, as you know, has the capability to potentially drop itself to the field and then set a trap from your hand. That trap can be activated during the same turn, so it kind of gives Labrynth more options to play during the opponent's turn, right? Or, well, not so kind of power creep traps that you normally have to wait a turn that you can use the trap. So Labrynth is one of those decks that kinda dodges that restriction. And this is also really cool, and also something that I definitely expected is Unchained. Unchained here with Labrynth, you know, potentially locking in yourself into Fiends, but again, that doesn't really hurt Labrynth too much. Plus the capability of, you know, as you see here in the extra deck, dropping the extra, or the link 2 for Unchained, which gives you a search, potentially searching the level 6 fire, and you know, it keeps extending your plays for Unchained with Labrynth, I guess, if that makes sense. Plus, and that's something cool, as you know, the Labrynth one, like if your opponent responds to your Labrynth activations, you can special summon that Labrynth from your graveyard. So potentially link upgrade Synchro Father. So really, really, really nice. Last, we see the new Zeus card. It's not really Zeus. I mean, both are really, not really the same, but Doomsday Star is, I guess, next to Little Knight, another potential extra deck staple. Looking at the OCG, looking at the future TCG, that, you know, potentially negates like monster effects. It works for both players, if I'm not mistaken. So keep in mind that it could nuke yourself, you know, from your monster effects as well. But like for Labrynth, that's not really that hard because of the potential boost, right, etc. So that's really, really cool. So as for the conclusion, I believe, and as Sword of the King mentions, like the most important card here from Age of Overlord is of course Little Knight. Little Knight, and potentially also the diabellstar package. So, you know, if you're looking forward to Age of Overlord for the TCG, those are probably the cards you should get soon. Some extra deck lists. This is a first place deck list. Whew, Sprite has been murdered multiple times by the OCG, but it still manages to end up first place. Most notable again is Little Knight and the extra deck, I guess. Another deck list, 4th place, again very similar to the Rescue Ace deck list we've seen before, featuring the new diabellstar engine. Obviously it makes the deck much more consistent, plus, you know, like a semi-draw engine because of those graveyard effects. This is the new this is a new Pendulum deck featuring the new cards as well. We see them here on the, well, right side of the picture. It's kind of small, but bear with me. As you know, they also got more support in, you know, Age of Overlord. I'm not so sure because again Electromite is still legal over there. Who knows, by the time we're getting the set they might unban Electromite for us TCG players. And then last, Vanquish Souls, first place decklist from locals, right? Nothing too, I mean, it's local, but still, it could give you more information. A small bestial package and that new Vanquish Soul, that it's basically another extender. High level fire, that's important, you know, for the reveal. But it gives the deck just more consistency, more searches as a whole. So who knows, we might see Droll and Lockbird in the future, right? And maybe in the next breakdown. So I'm actually excited. Like Age of Overlord brings so much to the OCG. And I'm looking forward to how much of an impact that's going to have on our TCG format. Okay, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment or like if you enjoyed the video. Riddim signing out. Peace.